session going on in the nation. The show is sponsored by Christian Service University. Christian Service University is located in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Courses they offer include nursing and midwifery, business administration, communication studies, planning, and others that you might be interested in. My name is 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗄𝗓. I'll be back to introduce the topic. Stay with me.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odeneho Kwadaso on the Kumasi-Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. That's
Sorry, not sure.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Get ready for a transformational morning experience.
Sorena Shrine is here to build our spirituality, mental and physical well-being.
Through positive, inspiring actions and stories.
We bring you exciting activities and conversations that develop us as a people and as a nation.
We take a look at the trending issues in Ghana and the rest of the world.
And we also review the impacting stories from our local newspapers.
Every morning, we bring you stories of hope, change, and renewal.
We empower you through the Word of God and provoke you to live the purposeful life destined for you.
Join us, Anita Kwaku
and the Reverend 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗘 Agbamanya, Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we take you on an inspiring journey, live and exclusively on WTV.
You may also join us on Facebook at WTV Ghana and on YouTube at Wesleyan TV Ghana.
Sorry, not Shrine.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Sorena Shrine is brought to you by
Danwell Insurance, Multi-Credit Savings and Loans,
and the Methodist University Ghana.
Welcome back. Let's quickly do W Briefs. On W Briefs, we give you an executive summary of the topic for discussion. So, the 2024 Summer Olympics ended in France yesterday. Records has it that 206 countries participated, with about 10,714 athletes estimated contesting or competing for laurels. The United States of America topped the medal table with about 90 gold. Ghana came home 0 medal. 0 medal. What is really the issue? The whole nation rallied behind our contingent in France with the hope that we'll come home with some medals. Our high jumper, 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗘, she qualified with 1.97 meters height that she jumped. But she defaulted at the Olympics by doing 1.88. Our relay team, they placed 6th in the 4x100 race that they ran. 6th, but they were disqualified. What has been the trend? Has this been happening too many a time? In Atlanta 96, our relay team did poorly, and we attributed that to, let's say, administrative error. Then in Sydney 2000, we didn't finish the race at all. Fast forward to Tokyo 2020, we faltered. In Tokyo, it was due to changeover violation. Then in World Athletics Championship in the USA 2021, again, changeover violation. These are men, 4x100, who also faltered this year. It was the same changeover violation. As a people, are we ready? What is really wrong with our preparation and participation in World Athletics Games? This afternoon, we are going to dig into the performance of our contingent in France and then explore remedies for future campaigns. Stay with me. I'll be right back to introduce my guests. On the States. And this afternoon, we are digging into the performance of the Ghanaian contingent at the just ended Olympic Games. And then we'll try to find out if there are remedies for future campaigns. The show is proudly brought to you by Christian Service University, which is an evangelical liberal arts institution established 50 years ago to train men and women with ethical values for transformational leadership in Africa. Admissions for the 2024-25 academic year is in progress for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. CSU offers dynamic academic and industry-driven programs in nursing, midwifery, business administration, communication, planning, and computer science. For more information, please contact our admission relations officers on 02462 75375, 0240154825, or 0244 596603, or you can visit our website on www.csuc.edu.gh. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa. CSU, the University of Choice. We have our brother, very well known, and has followed Ghana's performance over the years in the games that we've been taking part in on the world stage. 𝗧𝗵𝗘𝗘, sports journalist. Good afternoon, Isaac, and thank you for joining us in this conversation.
Well, good afternoon to you out there. And it's great to be on a sports platform to deliberate on issues concerning our sporting issues. Thank you. It's an honor, actually. Great.
Ghana is proud to have you help us understand the challenges that we are facing, or we've been facing over the period. We are very grateful. We'll be later on joined by 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗃, also a sports journalist. So Ike, let me start with you. First off, just give me your assessment of how the games went regarding the Ghanaian contingent.
we went there with just 8 athletes, so it was a very small contingent. There was a lot expected from Ghana's contingent, to be honest, because of the fact that we've had inadequate preparations. That I had a few interviews with the Ghana Olympic Committee president that and he stated very clearly how unserious we were towards preparations for these athletes. He says serious countries actually use 4 years to prepare for the Olympics, unlike them like the Olympics. So I don't think there was much of an expectation from this athlete, this small contingent of just 8 athletes. We had 2 swimmers in 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗘 as well as Harry Stacey, who qualified through a wild card. And I also had 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓, who was making his appearance at the Olympics for the very first time. It was a debut appearance for him, who was competing in the 100 meters together with Benjamin Azamati in the 4x100 relay as well. There was Isaac Botiu, there was 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗧𝗓, one of the very experienced guys, seasoned athletes for Team Ghana at this year's Olympic Games. And of course, the female queen, the high jump queen here in Ghana, not just in Ghana, but on the continent.
Yeah.
That's Rose 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘, who was also making it at the Olympic Games. So it was a very small contingent, but especially with Rose 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘, because of the fact that she was going to the Olympic Games. She's the first athlete to represent, female to represent us at the high jump event at the Summer Olympic Games. So there was not a lot of expectation, but there was a bit of hope in her to probably have a very good, Olympic Games. And clearly, she went there with a 1.97 meters, Fortunately, clearly you could see the nervousness, how jittery she was in the first jump. She was just failing at leaping, even 1.83, which was quite below her standard. So it takes a lot of preparations and experience to be at the very best at the Olympics. And if you don't have that, trust me, it's going to catch up on you, and you're going to see what happened to Rose 𝗟𝗪𝗪. It's quite unfortunate, but I still feel it was a success story for her. She gets to Ghana experience from the failure, and hopefully subsequently we can have her being at the very best at the Olympics. So overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't even grade or scale or rate Ghana's team, because for me, I know what had happened before the team went playing to Paris. We knew the kind of preparation they had. It wasn't very adequate. The less support they had from the States even before they had the plane to Paris. So for me, it wasn't much of a big deal. I wasn't too surprised. They couldn't even amass a medal or even get to the finals of some of their respective competitions. It wasn't a very poor showing, but I think we could have been better if we had put in the necessary and adequate preparations to support these athletes for the Olympics. Great.
Thank you for your preliminary comments, Ike. We have joined by 𝗟𝗓𝗪. Jerome, what, just like I asked Ike, what will you be your preliminary statement on the overall performance of the Ghanaian contingent? What is your assessment? Jerome, if you could kindly unmute your mic.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm saying that nothing surprising at all. If there was anything I expected, it was the kind of developments that we are all witnesses to. Everything that happened was not anything I didn't expect. Yes, there was a hope that for once, maybe a different story will be told. But from every account, I wasn't surprised. I mean, if you take our high jumper, yes, I would say there was hope that maybe she would do what has not happened before in terms of our records. If you take the swimmer, I mean, everybody knows that he was a wild card. Maybe the biggest of hopes lied in the Azamati and his team, the relay team, and maybe in the 100 meters and all the other events they were supposed to be part of. But I mean, you see, I am struggling to tell you something because I didn't expect much. I have been on a number of shows with my friend Isaac And he will recall that I told him, much as we are Ghanaians and we wish our country the best, I mean, our people the best in sporting competitions, sometimes there is nothing else for you to say apart from just hope that they will surprise you. On the basis of what they had done in terms of preparation, in terms of readiness, in terms of getting themselves prepared for the games, I don't think it was up to what others have done. And so, in a nutshell, I don't find anything surprising. Anything disappointing, because this is what I expected to happen. This
is what you expected. Surprisingly to me, both of you, Ike and J.Rom, you are both not surprised at the turnout of the of events. Let's quickly. I'm still J.Rom. I'll get Isaac's take on that one too. J.Rom, what do you think? Let's look at the people who are hopefuls. Let's look at Rose Yeboah. What went wrong? What went wrong in terms of preparation and everything, and even her performance out there? What went? So let's look at Rose, just as her performance.
You see, I don't want to personalize it and make it look like Rose is the problem. I don't think the problem is Rose. The problem is the system within which Rose finds herself, because there's no doubt that the talent is there. But you and I know that talent is not enough. Yeah. I mean, even in the Bible, those who were given talents and went to bury it and came back talking about the fact that they couldn't do anything with it, we know what their reward was. I mean, if you are given something, the expectation is that you work with it and be able to grow it so that there are benefits. So it is not so much about what went wrong with Rose. It is, for me, it is about what can we do so that the likes of Rose would better show the talent they have. It's a systemic problem.
Yeah,
I don't think we've done enough to put our athletes out there to really compete with the rest of the world. And some of these games will expose you. It will show what you have been doing over time. When it comes to this point where everyone expects you to perform, you will see that you will not perform because back home, you have not been doing things right. So all I'm trying to say is it is not so much to do with what went wrong for Rose. I mean, we hoped that Rose was going to do better than what she did. You know, some of the athletes were doing above 2 meters, and she couldn't. And once you cannot do beyond 2 meters at the Olympics, it's going to be very difficult for you to progress. So, yes, Rose basically could not jump beyond 2 meters, and that ensured that others were going to beat her. But I'm saying that the problem is not really about Rose not being able to jump beyond 2 meters. It is about what are we doing back home that will ensure that when some of these athletes get to the top where they compete with the best from the rest of the world, they will be able to compete as you expect them to do.
Yeah, so out there is that perhaps because her coach was not by her side, it could have contributed psychologically to her underperforming. Do you think so? And why would they leave out a coach for an athlete who is going out on a world stage?
Well, to be honest with you, I am hearing this for the first time on your network. Maybe because I have not followed that part of the conversation so well, but I have heard stories about some, for instance, some of our athletes, those who trained them, some of the coaches that worked with them were not at the games proper, and that is problematic. And so if it is the same for Rose, I mean, it goes back to what I'm telling you. There are systemic problems we have to deal with. I have always been asking one simple question. What is the grand plan in terms of sports development for this country? You know, all the countries that came to the Olympics, majority of them, if you look at at the medals table, those who knew they were going to win medals, they knew. They knew the areas they would win because they know what is back home, what they have been doing. They know, the kind of work that has gone on since Tokyo 2020, or was it 2021, up to this point. So it's news to me that Rose didn't have her coach. Maybe I have not followed events there that much, and I have to make that concession. But I'm saying that it doesn't come as a surprise because I've already told you that there are systemic problems we have to deal with. If there's a grand plan for our sports development, you will know what to do when it comes to the Olympics. The Americans and the Chinese and all those who won so many medals in various competitions will not have the kind of stories we want to tell, or the kind of stories that are emerging from our camp. It clearly tells you that we are not getting certain things right. And I hope that, we are tired of saying these things. 2016, we know how things went. 2020, we still remember how things went. And 2024, we are virtually talking about the same problem. It's unfortunate. It presupposes that we are not learning.
Yes, it's by the end of this conversation, I'm hoping that the remedies that we are going to proffer will be used so that we don't have these things happening. You are not so surprised about Rose's corner. How about the relay team? What really went? I don't know whether that one could also be linked to the preparation as we are talking about them in general. What went wrong with them? Some have argued that maybe synergy, the parents, senior to low, they wasn't. What really happened to the relay team?
I will not be so hard on the relay team because these things are not easy to deal with, as we sometimes will find it on TV. And I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying that even the Americans botched theirs. So it tells you that it is not something that comes easily. It takes a lot of practice and training to get it right. The problem, however, in our case is that we appear to have a problem with the baton change. Someone was saying that that's Ghana's nemesis. And because, hello?
Yes, Jerome, we can hear you.
Yeah, because that appears to becoming our nemesis, we really have to sit up and deal with that problem. I think it's got to do with coaching, it's got to do with training, it's got to do with constant practice, and also ensuring that at the top level, some of these mistakes will be taken care of.
Great. Let me quickly pick the thought of Ike on Ike. I was saving the two issues so that you comment on both of them. First is the high jump Rose's issue, and then the relay. I intentionally boxed the two so that I could come to you now.
Okay, so with Rose's situation, yes, I had 𝗟𝗓𝗘𝗃, even though 𝗟𝗓𝗘𝗃 is a former athlete, one of the coaches for the 4x100 relay team. So he made that statement. I heard him after the disappointing that's raised from the men's team, and of course the overall disappointing campaign from Team Ghana. He said that was one of the negatives, one of the downsides of their stories in parallel training or a coach we saw of Rose in there. Clearly she was not confident. I know Rose, I've seen her through her days here, school days here, to the NCAA, through to the Africa confidence that she goes with whenever she's coming up against some of the best in her field. But unfortunately, we didn't see that of Rose in the Olympic Games. Yes, one would understand it's a debut appearance, so obviously it's a very big stage, a huge stage. The Olympics, obviously, she will be nervous. But that is the more reason why you need Rose's personal trainer in her corner. Because of the fact that she's making a debut appearance, she'll need all the support that she can to be able to make that mark. And it goes back to J.R.'s statement that it's a systematic problem. It is a problem that emanates or stems from the system. If we had our things in planned well, if we had planned 4 years from in this elementary mistakes in affecting our athletes. So Rose's case is, I can understand it. And what's more painful is that she really cried after missing out jumping 1.92, because we know Rose has a personal best of 1.97. The lady who actually won the bronze medal in the high jump actually won the bronze medal at 1.95. That is even lower than Rose's personal best of 1.97 meters. So again, you look at the mathematics, you do the maths, and you realize Rose could actually have gone further and even won us a medal if she had all the confidence through her personal trainer and the preparation that they were one of the bright spots also for us. Baba Hussein, who is the president of the Ghana Athletics Federation, said, before the tournament, they were one of the best teams in recent years Ghana has actually amassed for the Olympic Games. So obviously, it tells you how they rated this team. And I could agree, I agreed with him at some point because of their trajectory. 2019, this team actually burst the scene. They won gold at the Rabat Games in Morocco, subsequently qualified the team to the Tokyo 2020 Games, also subsequently went to the Commonwealth Games, also qualified to the Paris Olympic Games. So the back-to-back Olympics for them. And they included Benjamin Azamateh and Joe Paul. These two were very constant since 2019 to date. So clearly you could see the experience they've garnered over the years. But again, one thing this team had been, talking about constantly and nagging about was the fact that they didn't get the needed support from the state to enter more competitions. And it is a fact. When you want mental fortitude to be able to race in the final of athletics or the Olympic Games as such, you need that kind of preparation. You need to go up against some of the best, rub shoulders with them before the tournament itself. And that is what they've been clamoring for. They should be entering subsequent programs or tournaments within the year before the Olympics or any big tournament they are up against in the future. So it starts with early preparation. And you can understand where they are coming from. Very early preparation, very good preparations, adequate preparations, facing the Noah Niles 3 times a year before you go up against Noah Niles in the final. I mean, it should be enough for you to, get a medal when they come up against them in such competition. And that is what they've been lacking over the years. And that's what Jerome has been saying. It is a system. And like I said, I spoke to GOC President 𝗟𝗓𝗏𝗘, and he clearly agreed to that. He concurred that we are not serious when it comes to preparation towards the Olympic Games. Los Angeles 2028. Preparation starts now. We don't start preparation in 2027. It doesn't happen that way. You don't shortcut your way to success. No one does that. So preparation for Los Angeles 2028 should begin from now, should get the needed support from the state to back or help these athletes qualify for the subsequent Olympics or tournaments to come. So, but with the 4x100 team, I mean, another issue has to do with the disqualification, baton changes, the lane violation, or the either administrative error. And that has been hampering their success over the years. We saw that at Tokyo 2020. Even before Tokyo 2020, we saw that the Poland, Silesia, that's World Athletics Championship, they had a lane violation in there. Subsequently, they qualified for the Olympics in Tokyo. At the Tokyo 2020 Games, which was held in 2021, they were disqualified in the finals of the event because of a similar problem, lane violation. We saw that again, an administrative error, forcing to, and again, we saw them drop a baton in the Bahamas race, the event that qualified them to the Olympics this year. They even dropped the baton. So they've had a problem. There seems to be a canker, sort of a problem, hampering their baton change when it comes to the 4x100 team. And I think it's something the team, regardless, if they get all the support, I think that support, it should be tilted towards getting the right trainers, the right men and women around them to help them psychologically. I believe the thing of their mental strength in there. They'll need to have that synergy, that chemistry to be at the very best when it comes to this team sport. That is not an individual sport. It's more of a team sport. Yeah. And I always make reference to the Chinese team. The Chinese team they thrive on chemistry and synergy with the 4x100. So always they're able to qualify. They had one of the fastest times this year. But you not see a Chinese individual who is at the top level when it comes to the 100 meters, 200 meters. Individually, they are not brilliant. But as a team, collectively, the Chinese are one of the fastest in the world. So it clearly tells you they thrive on chemistry. They thrive on synergy, which is very, very, very important when it comes to that team sport which is in the 4x100 team. So I believe 𝗬𝗏𝗑, Benjamin Asamaty, Isaac Bochu, Brian Fuseni, they are still young. I feel they can go further. They can give us, more activities or more of the athleticism going forward. But I believe that they need that needed support. They need to get that right support mentally, physically, financially to be able to enter more competitions. So it's entering more competitions, which will give you the experience that you need. Within the year, there are as many as 5 or 6 events globally that you can enter to probably get the experience that you need ahead of other competitions. So within 4 years, we can enter 2028, and these guys, trust me, will be up and ready for that Olympic Games in the US.
Okay, Ike. So gleaning from what you just shared, and I will take your word for it that you discussed it with the Olympics committee chairman, and he, like you said, admitted that yes, if we start early, or what, I don't know that the angle of the conversation, but what did he say, or what have you gleaned from your interaction with the authorities in this space that contributes to our not starting the preparation very early? What is the problem? Why can't we, like we are saying, why don't we start planning a year, 2, 3 before then? Why do we wait last minute and then rush and go there and disgrace ourselves? Why is it that we can't start early preparation? Did you?
Well, it's simple. Well, it's simple. Sport is always a secondary matter. Let me say, sports minus Black Stars is always a secondary matter to the state. If I can put it that way, sports minus the Black Stars is always a secondary matter to the state. It's not approached properly because they don't probably prioritize it, and that is a problem. The struggles, I've worked with some of the federations, boxing, talk about athletics, talk about badminton, and the struggle that they have to go through before they get even their athletes, to fly to other countries to compete for competitions which they are representing Ghana. And it's sometimes disheartening, to hear some of these stories. So that is the problem. We are not even asking for government to directly invest in sports. Maybe you don't want to directly invest in sport, pump money. But I'm asking government, we can ask government to play that facilitating role, facilitate some of their trips, facilitate some of their activities within the year. We're not even asking for direct cash. Fine, you can put the direct cash in the Black Stars, but help them, give them special concessions with regards to duty for them to get equipment outside into the country to help prepare or hone the skills of this talent down here. Create avenues for them, platforms. It could be stadiums. It could be modern facilities. Create it for them. Let them train on. Let them hone their talent in there. And these are the things that we are calling for. It is always a secondary issue with government when it comes to supporting some of these events, and that is where the angle that GOC President 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗘 was coming from. The struggles that these federations, these athletes would have to go through if they are not Black Stars. That they are not Black Stars, because we know the Black Stars always get the best preparations stars. When you get to the group of the World Cup, they get a direct $9 million bill from the country. So it's more of they can see those returns, and they feel they are tilted towards some of this investment. But I keep saying, what we get from the Olympics and what we get from these other athletes, some of them are not quantifiable, but their posterity's successes, and they are forever. We've seen what has happened over the years. Samuel 𝗘𝗓𝗏 went to the Tokyo 2020 Games, and he brought us bronze medal, and the whole country went agog. I mean, we were excited for him, and where he comes from was hailed. Bukum was on the map. We saw foreign journalists come down to Ghana to interview Samuel 𝗘𝗓𝗏, and they send their stories out there because Samuel 𝗘𝗓𝗏 won us a medal. So some of these are the success stories we are clamoring for. It is not just about getting direct returns from where you have invested. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about making life easier for the ordinary athletes here, and that's the point where I believe 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗘 was hammering on. Okay. We need to facilitate the activities of the respective federations in this country, and government can help us with that. Government has shown that without the Black Stars, they are not really supporting other sporting federations, which is very clear. But we can help this facility, this government, and making their activities and making competitions very easy and bearable for them to compete in, all in the name of hosting the flag of Ghana high. So it's very clear. it's always a secondary matter when it comes to supporting sports, man of the Black Stars for the government. But I believe that narrative can change if we are more serious now. We need the right men and women to also, knock on the doors of government to make that change or to rewrite that narrative to help our athletes moving forward.
Yes, I just on the last note that you left off, that we need the men to be knocking on the doors. Because you're a sports journalist, I'll ask Jerome the same question. How have you helped these people? How have you knocked on government's door since you got to know about these systemic problems? That's what I'm addressing you as a sports journalist. Unmute yourself and then yeah.
Pardon me. I mean, we have been doing what we have been called to do. That is calling the attention of authorities to the issues of the day. We have been insisting on the right thing. We have been talking and running commentaries, writing articles, pointing out to them that sports is not football. Sports is not what we take it to be. Sports is far more than the kind of things we think we have been doing here. And I am one of those who believe that this country's sports has no vision. There's no clear plan as to what we want to do with sports. It is only when the Black Stars are about to play, then you see just everyone jumping around and coming around and making it look like we are a sports country. We are not. We are just concentrating on football and doing what we think should be done so that our teams, our Black Star, will excel in matches. But see, we need a government that will take sports seriously, that will prioritize sports. If it is a matter of spending the little resources they will allocate to sports on, let's say, one or two disciplines, we know that these are the areas we have the talents, so that we prioritize and develop on the basis of that. But the situation we have now, where football receives about 90% of, the allocation to sports, and then the rest of the sporting disciplines have to wrestle, or is it struggle to be known, my brother, it is going to take so much for us to get to the level we want to get to.
Yeah, just one quick one. You from where you sit, I'm sure you've had personal interaction or you've had close contact with some of these athletes. What do you hear from them? What do you think they need done for them to excel? Quickly.
Well, yeah, if you listen to some of the athletes, they want infrastructure to be developed properly. They want matters of their development to be taken seriously. Because as we speak, apart from the Legon Stadium and maybe Baba Yara and maybe Cape Coast, there isn't any athletics over. Something that it's of the standard that you would say is good enough for. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, something that you would say is to train athletes. Yes, there is the Boteman, but the point has to be made that we need to develop our infrastructure. Because if you want to train athletes without the best of infrastructure, there is nothing you can do. And these are some of the conversations that when you speak to the athletes, their prime concern is that we need infrastructure to be able to develop. In fact, and I'm sure my colleague Isaac will remember very well, when 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗦𝗁 was in Ghana, was it last year or so, he was shocked to know that at that time there was no proper, running tracks in the country. Yeah. And that for him was surprising. So, with a state of affairs like that, how can you run your athletics? So in interaction with some of the athletes, their concern is getting the infrastructure in place, because that is what will serve the whole objective of development. Because, I mean, it's like buying a car. If you have a car and there's no road to drive the car on, how are you going to drive the car? You know, so the athletes want the infrastructure fixed. And when the infrastructure is provided, the best of infrastructure is available, it is then that you can dream or think of proper development.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jerome, on that note. Viewers, if you are just joining us, you are still on the States. And this afternoon, we are digging deep into the performance of the Ghanaian contingent at the just ended Olympic Games. We are trying to see what really went wrong with the performance and then explore remedies for future campaigns. And we have two sports journalists joining us to do the conversation or have that discussion. Our guests have been 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗃 and then 𝗧𝗵𝗘𝗃. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at the solutions. Don't go anywhere.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246-275375, 0240-154825, or 0244-596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi-Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. That's
Nyansa, it's Shan and Peninano, and I agent in Peninano. To baby Biara and Penifuashia. Na ye saya dwene no ne open nyansa no oben wa ode agudie kira dwene mu agudie ene kofie penu sa dwene nsemu mu odo nsemporo nsemu a yetie bobra ekoyie frase efifrito ne open nyansa no omengwankwa enu ase ne mpani so ayadwene ne be nhyira amano ene ne nchirima yada mo ase
da impanyini inso ayadwene jemre na hweyen memninde ne memninde bia anopa no wotwe wo Wesleyan television so.
Welcome back, and you are still on the States. We are looking at the performance of our athletes at the just ended Paris Games, and we have guests joining us and helping us with the discussion. Strong, renowned sports journalists 𝗧𝗵𝗘𝗃 and 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗃. We are digging deep to see why the performance was not what was expected, and then how we can get solutions and remedies going forward. Please join and enjoy the conversation. Gentlemen, before we went on break, we were looking at the possible solutions, or let me say possible reasons that could more or less make us prepare adequately. Let me pick your thoughts, and Isaac. Let me pick your thought, Isaac. So when our relay team picked up qualification, it was reported that 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘 requested that they be given more money in preparation. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘, on the other hand, said they needed more days for training. I want us to look at investment, so that if maybe state is unable to fund, state is unable to invest, the areas that the investor community can look at. Maybe he mentioned money without any quantum. What do you think investor interests, if we are going to cut them, should look at?
Well, I mean, clearly we have to look at the athletes' preparation in total, and it's quite expensive for individual athletes to actually get the best preparations ahead of major competitions like the World Athletics Championship and the Olympic Games, and that's why most of these athletes have, personal brands, sponsoring them. So you look at, there's a lot of, even 𝗟𝗪𝗘 himself has some personal, corporate bodies sponsoring his trips to and fro countries, participating in competitions, major competition, and that is the norm actually. Aside the state heavily investing in these athletes, the athletes get attached to some of these corporate bodies and these brands who actually necessitate or help facilitate and sponsor them, give them cash, or actually or help their movement to participate in major competitions, in respective countries. So that is one area we can look at. If investors want to really get attached to some of these athletes, it will be one of the best news for these athletes. I remember after the African Games, the Honorable Minister, the Minister for Youth and Sports, said that they are about to be back on a campaign where we'll have corporate Ghana, that's corporate bodies, having at least one athlete onto their firm, sponsoring this athlete. That's helping their preparations, whether welfare, education, ahead of major competition. In summary, we want to see the corporate body taking a responsibility role of also ensuring that we hone the skills and talent of these athletes, subsequently culminating into these athletes becoming world champions. And I think it's one of the brilliant ideas which was announced by the minister after the African Games. I think it's something that we can take on, corporate Ghana can take on, investors can look at it. At the end of it all, we see you also playing that playing that huge role in nurturing and unearthing talent, and of course, helping with their preparations ahead of major competitions. But again, the athletes, I believe, can also position themselves in a way that also attract, brands, sponsors, which is very important. It is a norm. It is something that happens across the globe. Even the 𝗟𝗪𝗘, they had some of the best brands in there. But again, one will say, this is 𝗟𝗪𝗘, these are the new one now. They are huge, and obviously they attract some of the biggest, investors in the market. But again, I believe little by little, some of our athletes can also get attached to some of these brands, which can help facilitate their preparations and help them get to the very top of preparation. So it looks simple, but it's not quite simple. For the athletes, the normal athletes, there are a lot of competition within the year. So the calendar year, take a calendar year, there are a lot of activities that runs through. There are world championships for the track runners. There are world championships. There are school championships also those in the system. There are African championships in there. There are continental championships in there. There are invitational tournaments even in there. And all these tournaments help, give the athlete the experience they need to actually, rub shoulders with the very best in the continent. Trust me, the 𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗘 Pride, and no one else, they take advantage of all these competitions within the year. 1 year, they'll go everywhere, whether the Bahamas, whether it's in Celestia, whether it's in wherever it is, they'll take advantage, travel around the globe, meet the very best, in this respective meet. And when they come to the Olympic Games, they are in the best form, and they've actually had a taste of, the experience through this competition. So again, it's not too much of a tax for them, if you ask me, because of the experience they've garnered across the globe in participating in these competitions. I remember 𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗘 in Tokyo 2020 when he was paired against the Jamaican sprinter. I forgot it, 𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗘. 𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗃 was in lane 5, he was in lane 6. One of the heats, and clearly after the games, he came and he told us in an interview that he was nervous. He felt that intimidating shadow of 𝗟𝗪𝗪𝗃 top of him. And these are some of the things we don't want to have our competitions. And to curb that, you need to enter them into competition. It's as simple as that. Enter them into competitions, prepare them adequately before the start of competitions. After the competitions, have an introspection of what you guys have done. So after Paris 2024, we should have an introspection of what has happened so far. A technical report from the technical team out there. Look at what we need, the I's we need to dot and the T's we need to cross. And we move on to the next stage, which is beginning preparations very early for the next, Olympic Games. So these, I believe, coupled with the support from governments, and like I said earlier, a government does not want to directly fund or put cash into the investment of these athletes. It can help us, like J.Rom said, we should have more Bottemans, not just one Botteman. We should have more Bottemans. We should have a lot of platform infrastructure should be standardized for these athletes, and also government should help them, in terms of logistics. It's very easy. Badminton, I've worked with the president of badminton for some time now, and he keeps lamenting about the problems that they face in terms of getting logistics into the country just to help these athletes. Some of this, equipment, you can't get them in Ghana and even in Africa. It will need to be brought down from Europe, on the western part of the world. So again, these are some of the little things they will need government to step in to help them, facilitate some of these things for them, and help them, hone their talent and add talent, and prepare athletes that they have under their respective, federations adequately for international competitions like the Olympic Games. So, in summary, it's just all about support for Ghanaian athletes now, and I believe that corporate Ghana, if they are listening, can also play their part in supporting this. At the end, it is going to be a huge win for all of us. Corporate Ghana get to be sponsored, get to be part of the success story. Imagine if I'm corporate A and I get to attach my brand to 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗘 to the next Olympic Games. The success story, I get to, to bask in that glory as well, because again, I made that happen. I ensured that 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗘 was out there in the next Olympic Games just to win a medal for Ghana. So I think when one invests in these athletes, they are going to get the needed, hype, and not just hype, but the needed, clout that they need, the clout that they want for their cooperating, and it will help, build a better and a stronger and more comprehensive, outfield athlete for Ghana in the near future. So, in short, in summary, that's a bit for now. But the government should play their role. Like I said, that facilitating role is very important for government to play to ensure that this respective federation can have the necessary and the right equipment and the right procedure of training their athletes for respective competitions. Okay, great. Thanks. J.Rom, let me just on the tail end of investment still. I hesitate to say this, but the Botswana 200-meter winner, I think Lepsle Lebogo, that gentleman, at least, so there is an African country that has gotten it right, maybe invested well and gotten him to. But is it an African problem? Because our neighbor, Nigeria, to perform poorly, is a challenge an African problem?
It's a Ghanaian problem. I'm a Ghanaian, and I would be interested in talking about Ghana first before I take a trip on the continent. Kenya is doing brilliantly in athletics. Uganda same, Ethiopia same. Some years ago, Frankie Fredericks of Namibia put Namibia in bright lights. You see, our problem is what I told you earlier. It is to do with the grand agenda for sports. If you take, for instance, other sectors of our life in this country, let's take education. I can point to free SHS and say free SHS is there. It's been in session for how many years? 6, 7 or so years. Even if it has problems, it is one policy I can point to when it comes to education. It is the same with health. In our fourth republic, if I'm counting from, let's say, 2001 to this point, I have known of the National Health Insurance Scheme. It is a policy implemented by government. Successive governments have taken over, and it is still in session, even if it has problems. If you take sports, what policy do you know of in our sports sector you would say has been successfully implemented to ensure that Ghana is known when it comes to international competitions? To the best of my knowledge, there's no policy. It is Black Stars. And the Black Stars continue to disappoint us. I mean, we've been to 4 World Cups since our first one in 2006. By conservative figures, FIFA has given us almost $40 million for our participation and qualification, or for our qualification and participation in 4 World Cups. Ask yourself, what legacy project do we have for all the 4 World Cups and the funds that have come as a result of our qualification and participation? There's nothing. There is nothing. I think, to be fair, in the 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗘 administration, he procured vehicles for 10 regional, then we had 10 regions. So for 10 regional football associations, he procured vehicles for them. But I mean, vehicles are not anything that by now, even if they are around, they will not be in good shape. So I'm saying that let us have a grand agenda for sports development. With the little that we have, if we say we are developing infrastructure, let's commit to developing infrastructure. If we say we are developing the capacity of our coaches, be it in boxing, be it in athletics, be it in football, let us commit to developing the capacity of our coaches. If it is the medical area, let's say sports science that we want to develop, let us commit resources to developing that, because you see, we don't have enough money to get everything done. So let's prioritize and prioritize well and see what is immediate, what is important, what can we do with the little resources. But with what I'm seeing, our athletes are going to go every year, and when they go, we only hope. But you see, at this level, hope is nothing. I'm a Christian. I believe so much in God. I believe in Christ and all the things that the Bible says. But even the Bible itself says that faith without action is what? I mean, you cannot sit there and say, I have faith in God, so God will feed me this morning when you are supposed to go to work. You know. So much as we are expressing hope, let us back the hope with action. The Bobo guy you spoke of, the World Athletics Championship last year, pundits of athletics started talking about him. People said, look, the guy is 20 years or so then. I think he was 20 or 22 years then. And they predicted that this guy has a bright future and he will be doing well in the years to come. 1 year down the line, he's an Olympic 200-meter champion.
Yeah, there's a lot to explore. There's a lot to explore on this topic. 𝗟𝗓𝗓 will engage you two again so that we do justice to this topic. Viewers, we've been discussing the performance of our athletes at the just ended Paris Games, and then we've been trying to get solutions to future campaigns. Our guests have been 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗘, a sports journalist, and also 𝗧𝗵𝗘𝗘, a sports journalist. Viewers, it's time to say goodbye. We appreciate your time. We do not take it for granted at all. We hope we have helped you to appreciate the conversation. Keep the conversation going on. We are back on Wednesday. Goodbye.